time to make the binding. I like to cut my binding strips 3 inches wide. You can do whatever width you prefer. And for the lap size, I need to cut 7. I'm going to use my stripology ruler. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, and I have a little left over. And now I'm going to sew these together end to end, and I'll show you how I do that. All right, I've got my strips. I'm going to show you how to mark where you're going to sew if you want to do that. So I've got a harrow marker and a ruler, and this is directional. It probably wouldn't really matter if I sewed these together in a way that kept the direction the same, but I'm going to do it because I just, as a practice, always do it the same way. So you'll notice I still have my selvage attached, and part of the reason I do that is because I'm lazy and I can just cut it off after this, but also because it helps me keep everything straight directionally. So you notice the 2 selvage ends look different. One is less fancy and one has more decoration on it. So I'm going to start with this side up, and then I'm going to keep that consistent throughout the whole thing so that the directions stay the same. So see, I'm gonna put this flat, and I'm going to put the piece I'm gonna sew onto it. So I've got the other end of the selvage, and I'm gonna line these up. I usually decrease my stitch length just a little bit. I'm gonna take it down to 2. So I'm gonna sew from this corner to this corner. We're going to, I don't usually mark because I've done this a zillion times and I am lazy, but I'll mark for you. So I'm just connecting this intersection here to this intersection, and I'm just going to put a line. I'm not pinning or anything. I'm just holding everything into place. And I now have a line where I'm going to sew. Okay, and now what I do, this doesn't matter so much when you're doing a print, but when this works really well for a solid, is I put my hand down on this strip, and then I lift this up and flip it over so it's flat. So you can see I'm making sure there's no twists in the entire fabric here. I just have it, I've just flipped it over. And again, if you're using a print, you obviously can tell which side is the right side and which side's the wrong side, but on a solid, you can't. So I just always do it that way. Okay, again, I'm lining these 2 up. Since I'm going to be trimming this selvage off, I usually leave just like 1/8 of an inch of extra space. So I'm going to mark a line here, hold that in place. I'm going to sew them. I'm going to do the same thing. Hold this down, flip this over. Again, I'm making sure that I am using the same direction. So I've got this end of the strip, line these up, mark this line, hold things in place, sew them together. Okay, chop that down, flip it over. Line those up, mark that line, hold things in place, sew them together. Okay, line these up, mark this line, it's the last one. mark that line. Sew those together. Okay, now I'm going to cut all the threads between these. And I'm going to check and make sure everything looks good. Okay, I'm just going to open these. And this will be really important if you're using solids and you're not sure you got them all faced the right way. So I'm just going to check and make sure that these ends look straight. Everything is facing the right direction. There we go.